Hi sweet friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video for you that was requested, and it is a budget binder update. So of course I have here my budget binder, which you guys have seen in my budget binder setup, and I also do have our monthly budget notebook here beside me, and this also keeps track of our baby steps as well. But I'm going to be focusing on the budget binder today and update you on how we use it and what has changed in it since you saw that last video. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay friends, so let's go ahead and open up our budget binder, and the first thing that you'll see is this laminated sheet that I just got off Pinterest, and it is Dave Ramsey's baby steps. So we're on baby step number 2, which is to pay off all debt. We're working hard at that one. And then the next thing that we have is this little clear pouch, and it has a checkbook in here, and we just keep that in order to write checks that we need to write and have that easily accessible. The next thing is this large folder, and I say large, but I mean it's just a regular size binder folder, but it's like a plastic material, which I really like. So it's very durable, and it also just kind of snaps in and out. You guys can see that, there you go, rather than having to pull it out with the rings, which I haven't even pulled it out since we put it in here. So don't really use that, but it's nice and handy, and it makes it really durable. In this folder we keep any like upcoming bills or important things that are coming up that we need to pay. So I also have, this is actually my invoice from the dress I bought for my best friend for her wedding. So we recently also had my husband's car registration renewal form in here, so we knew the date and the amount that needed to be paid. Okay guys, so as we flip over, we see our financial overview section, and in here we just have listed out our goals. So we obviously want to become debt-free in 2017, and that is our credit card debt. I know I say debt-free, and it's a little bit like different. It's not going to be all of our debt because I do still have a car payment, so we will still have that to tackle, but all of our credit cards and my husband's student loans will be paid off in 2017. Our next goal is to go on a huge vacation in 2018, and then to fund a house down payment as well. And then I just have an extra sheet of that goal setting sheet as well. The next section is our budget, and it breaks it down into our recurring expenses as the first sheet. So I have here our yearly expenses, quarterly and monthly, and it's basically just things that we need to keep an eye on because we'll be paying them at some point throughout the year or the month. So here we have both of our car registrations, which those are really like the only recurring expenses like each year. One thing that has come up for my hubby is his driver's license renewal, but that doesn't happen every year, and it's like $20 or something like that, so it's totally not bad. But that doesn't happen every year, so that's not on this sheet. And then also for quarterly, we just have one subscription that's quarterly, and then we have listed out our monthly bills. The only thing that's a little tricky is our rent, because our rent does go up because we're in an apartment, so we know that it'll go up actually in June. So I left that blank just because we don't want to fill in one amount and then have to cross it off later, but our rent is the same each and every month, so other than when it does the increase. So that's okay to not have that filled in. But yeah, each time we pay a bill, since we're kind of in April now, we just check it off. So we paid PG&E, and that's it. So every time we pay a bill each month, we check it off, and then at the end of the month, we should have all of these checks filled in, of course. And then back here is just our debt payments, so anything that we need to pay on throughout the month as well as back here, just so that we can keep an eye on those payments also, because you never know, like especially if you do auto debit, like sometimes some things can happen to your like bank account or card number or something like that, and you don't want to miss a payment. So the next part we have is our monthly check-ins and monthly like budget tracker sheets broken down, and I'll show you guys. Let's see, this was for January, so we talk about the month before and things that we did well, things we could improve on, and then goals for that coming month. And then in the next page we just have a sheet, and it has basically just areas for us to fill out these different expenses throughout the month. So it breaks it down into pay periods for the most part. So income 1 and then income 2. So I just do it as like this is the first pay period and this is the second pay period, and then this is anything extra that we, you know, bring in, and then what we use to what we use that extra income for. So we have that for each month, and you'll see that we're obviously in This was for February, so we talked about January. This was for March, and then we are now in April. So this was what we talked about for March, and so we've started to, I've not started to fill in any of those. So this is what we talked about for March and our goals for April. So then that just repeats throughout the rest of the year, and obviously the rest of them are blank because they haven't happened yet. So the next section is our bill section, and this one is actually pretty empty because I felt like we had a lot of the same information at the very beginning of our financial overview, so I didn't put it in two different places, and that's just a personal preference. Like if we didn't have our monthly budget notebook, I would fill this in for sure and be checking this off and looking at it each month. But since we have that, I put the information in there, so we don't really need it. And the cash flow worksheets I haven't used, but they are nice to have in here as well. The next section is our debt section, and in here this is kind of a fun area because we have basically the credit card that we're working on up front, like the smallest one that we're working on the most up front, and so we get to highlight a lot of that. As you guys can see, we are like at the halfway point of this credit card right here, so we'll actually be paying this off in April. Yay! So that will be gone and we'll move on to the next thing. But we also have the information about that credit card. So I don't fill in all the information, obviously I don't have our account number or anything like that, but I have the due date, the minimum payment, and then the balance, and then I just keep track of the payments that we've made so that we can see how often we're making payments, what the payments are. And then also you can see like what the service charges are, or interest charges, because those, they make me so angry. Like you make, with Zales, like especially, this one was ridiculous. So you make a $75 payment and then you get like a $35 like interest charge. Or actually our minimum payment is $55 on here. So literally $20 goes to like your balance. How sad is that? So that's why you have to do the snowball method in order to make any progress on your debt. So we have the same things for each of the rest of our debts here. This is my hubby's student loan. And then we just have the rest of our debts all listed out here. And then a lot of them we don't have like the charts filled in because we're just making the minimums right now. So once we start like really snowballing, we'll fill out the chart wherever we are at and then start filling it in. So it's really fun to see that. And I like to put whatever the starting balance was at like the top so that we can see where we actually started, and then versus where we start like the aggressive snowball on that. So the next section is our savings. Oh, one thing we have back here also is my car loan. So at some point that will get filled in too. So the next section is our savings, and the only thing we're really filling in here is the starter baby fund that we're doing. We are starting with a $1,000 baby fund, and we're just starting to like put money towards that. We're obviously like not actively like trying to start a family right now. So we're just really starting the fund, and this is, like I said, the like baby fund. So it's gonna have $1,000. Then we have another one back here for once we are debt free and we can really like put a lot of money towards these other funds and things like that. And we have one for $5,000. So those are just kind of starter things. And the next thing we have here is the 6 fund emergency fund, which again will happen once our debt is paid off. And for now, our baby fund is basically like a sinking fund, but because we have this chart, I like to fill it in because it's kind of fun. So the next section is actually our sinking funds. And what we do with this is I have this little piece of paper here that just says our sinking funds and what the total amount is each month that we contribute to those. And then these sheets, it's called the tracking our monthly expenses sheet, and has a place for you to put the category and then the budgeted amount. This obviously is not our monthly expenses, but we track our sinking funds. So each sinking fund has its own sheet. So the first one is our anniversary, and then our budgeted amount is $37 a month for the whole year. So each month we put in a specific amount of money, which is $37 for this one, and so we can see the balance here. So it has the date, you can put who you're paying it to if it's for like an actual payment. Ours is obviously just to our savings, so we don't put anything there, and then the amount, and then the balance. So I'll show you guys another one because some we do withdraw money from. Obviously there are several funds that we don't, our anniversary, Christmas, the baby fund. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's about it. Those are the funds that we definitely don't withdraw any money from at all. But other funds, like birthdays, we do have withdrawals. So in the payee spot, I put where we withdraw, or when we withdraw, and how much. So as you can see, on the 17th of January, we deposited $20, our balance went up to $60. And then on the 23rd of January, we withdrew $14 and our balance went down to $46. So this is really, really helpful, and it's going to be so great to see this at the end of the year, to see how much we've actually spent out of these funds and what time of the year we spent more from this fund. So say in your family you have like 7 birthdays in between like June and July. Like, you may know then that you'll need to bump up your birthday fund if you're going to get everyone gifts for the people in that time frame. For us, our birthdays for our families are pretty spread out nicely, so we can kind of work sporadically, except I will say for our parents. Our parents are like all clustered together like towards like the end of the year, which is not convenient, but and obviously your parents, you want to get them something nice, so that's probably a good note for us to make, and to really make sure we have enough in our fund for that. But this is really helpful. So we do this with each of our sinking funds. Again, with our car, when we withdraw for our car, it's pretty like large amounts, and we put in a large amount each month. We put in $63 a month, but obviously we withdrew for my car registration in the middle of February, and then for my husband, he just did his this month, so I need to add that in. But then, and then also like oil changes and things like that. So it's larger amounts, not like $10 like birthdays. Christmas, again, one fund that we won't do anything with until probably like October, November. And because we have this money in here, we could certainly start Christmas shopping early. If there's a gift that we know that one of our nieces and nephews really wants and we see it on like a crazy sale, then we can pick that up because we know we have the money in here for it, and we'll be fine, you know, for budgeting for the rest of Christmas. But for the most part, this will all come out towards the end of the year. Clothes is something that fluctuates. And again, we just make a note of when we withdraw. And then Kiki is pretty, her fund gets pretty large as well. She just had like $80 in there, and then we withdrew because we took her to the groomer. So it went down to $35, and then it'll bump itself back up over the next couple of months. Medical expenses is again something we don't use a ton, but when we do, we like to make that note. Oh, our rent increase, that was the other one that we don't withdraw on until obviously like our rent goes up. So right now we have $150 in that little account, and that's just to kind of help us as a little buffer when our rent does increase. It's not increasing too much, but by the time it does, we will have basically like 3 months worth of the increase, 3 or 4 months worth of that increase in this account that we can just pull from, and rather than it like hurting our budget or being like a shock to us or anything like that. So the next one's our personal funds that we have. And then weddings. Okay. And then I just have an extra sheet to track any other expense that comes up. And then we have a clothing needs list. And then we have these traditional just like paper envelopes that we used to use for our sinking funds. And that is really it. The rest of the stuff is just like miscellaneous stuff. These are some like older bills and things like that. So anywho, and the great thing with having a binder is that as you go throughout each month, like we have this monthly section here, you can put whatever the bills were behind this. So you can add them to the month to see, okay, we paid that amount for water or for gas, or our cable bill went up. So it's a really nice opportunity and system to keep track of all of those bills, to see when things might increase, or just to keep track of, you know, whatever your account numbers are, and information and things like that. So that is it, and that is how we use our budget binder. Like I said earlier, it's really more of a place for us to kind of house everything and have like one central like homing center. So for instance, if we know that we need to write a check for rent, my husband or myself can just go and grab this and pull out the checkbook and do that. We know that we keep any like upcoming or current bills and things like that that are due in here. So it's just really convenient to have a place that all of that goes into, rather than like scrambling around and like, okay, I thought I saw it on this counter and maybe it went in this box or maybe it's in this drawer. It's just all in one place. So you guys, that is really it for our budget binder update. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, definitely let me know, and I will be doing these regularly so you guys can see how our system changes and how it works for us. We do really like this. This is the second year we've had a budget binder, and it's, I mean, the more that you do this and the longer you go on your finances and creating systems that really work for you, the more at peace you'll be with your finances. And that's really where we're at right now. We're at a place where we're really comfortable with things, and it's easy to do things and easy to just know where our money's going and to keep track of it and to see that it's actually like starting to do things for us rather than just like leave us, right? Rather than just like run away and like go be paid to other people. We're actually starting to like do stuff with it. So that's everything for today's video, guys. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up so I know you like it, and we'll do more updates. And don't forget to subscribe if it's your first time here. I would love to have you back. Have an amazing day and happy budgeting.